Wild Bill for America, standing by in the PJNet Green Room. Studio 5 is up, and we will be ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're actually ready to go, well, right now. Here it is, Saturday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. For those of you watching live, we normally start at 9 o'clock, but frankly, I overslept. All right, PJNet Live with Wild Bill for America. Every Saturday night you will find him right here, and he is standing by in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach, Florida, with his blue earmuffs and no hat today. Bill, how you doing tonight, Bill?
I'm doing good. How's the sound? Can you hear me? Because I can't hear myself.
I can hear you quite well.
All right. That's all it takes for me to start mouthing off. Had a great day. Great day in Daytona. We had a rainstorm that was unbelievable. It was like a monsoon. And I looked at the temperature, and the temperature was 87 degrees. So I went out for a walk. I walked in this big rainstorm down to the river. Man, the wind was blowing the waves. I was soaked to the bone, and it was one of the nicest getaways I've ever had. Talk about an adventure. And these are not earmuffs. These are earphones. Earmuffs are in Alaska. So, anyway.
Once I saw this old man, and we were talking, and he kept asking me to repeat myself. And I noticed there was something in the man's ear, and I looked and I said, "Sir, there is a suppository in your ear." He said, "Now I know where my hearing aid is." Well, if he would, I feel like sometimes clogging my ears up, because you go down to the local library and you see the local drag queen down there reading to all the children, but a lot of adults are showing up now, right?
Yeah, they are. We have got some of the men and some pastors who have been arrested for crashing these drag queen story hours in an attempt to defend the children from these predators. And I cheer them on. This is exactly what the men of America should be doing. American children should be protected from sexual perverts, not handed over to them, not adopted by them, and not read to them in public libraries. So,
today in Tallahassee, Florida, the headline of the newspaper, I was getting my morning coffee at about 6 o'clock this morning, and it said, Pride Month, gay couple, adopt. And it's got this, Adam and, it wasn't Adam and Eve, it was Adam and Steve. I guess. Yeah. And I thought, first of all, it is not Gay Pride Month, because Congress has made no such declaration. But does that really belong? Okay, even if I could just set aside any personal feelings or the way God feels about it, is that really front page news? Really?
To the liberal left, it is. Their goal is to totally transform our culture by desensitizing America to homosexuality. Normally there's what I call the ick factor. Ew, ick. Such things disgust normal human beings, but that can be overcome by saturating them with images and scenes and so on. There was a photo on Facebook a couple days ago. Is two big, fat, hairy, naked men walking down the street, and each one had a little child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, taking them by the hand, and they said, "This is what America is proud of." That pretty well sums it up.
I'm off track. Chelsea Clinton reading to a little girl.
Yeah, I sent you this earlier. This is a meme that made me smile the other day. Chelsea Clinton is reading to her little girl. And the title of the book is Nana Goes to Prison.
How about Mama Goes to Prison?
I don't know that Chelsea has crossed the felony line yet, but
her mama.
Yeah, well, that's who Nana is. Nana is Hillary Clinton. And why? The question must be asked, why is Hillary Clinton still walking free? She committed felonies right before the faces of the American people, destroying evidence that was under subpoena, and on. Her list of crimes grows.
Oh,
But
obstructing justice is a very serious matter now, Bill. It's in the news all the time.
and in Washington D.C., nobody ever gets prosecuted for it. That's the problem.
Unless
And
you're
I
Donald
have
Trump, they'll impeach you.
no, they tried to prosecute him, but of course there was no evidence, unlike Clinton. So I have a question, Mark. Is America afraid of Hillary Clinton? Why are they afraid to prosecute her? In fact, even Trey Gowdy, the pit bull of conservatism, former prosecutor himself, when he had the opportunity to question her about Benghazi, he didn't even dare to ask her any tough questions. And Gowdy, by the way, is now slinking back to his home state. He's quitting. And I'm wondering if Hillary Clinton might have something to do with that. And I need to ask the question that will anger many conservatives out there, and it is this: is Donald Trump afraid of Hillary Clinton?
Hmm.
I am convinced that the line that got him elected was during the debates when he
Yep.
looked at Hillary Clinton and said,
Mm-hmm.
"If I was president, you'd be in jail."
Oh, he
That's the line
promised. He
that
promised.
that's
Remember?
the line that got him elected. And here we are over 2 years later, and it appears that he is not lifting a finger to bring justice to Hillary Clinton. Why? Is Trump afraid of her like everybody else?
Most of the people that tried to cross her are no longer amongst us, you know.
All the more reason to drop the hammer on her like a ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Where has justice gone in America? And it's my personal opinion that as long as Hillary Clinton is walking free, there is no justice in America.
Well, it seems like there are two standards, one for you and I, and you know, she's not alone. How about Jussie Smollett? What's up with that? You know,
That poor little gay boy who was attacked by the Trump hat wearers.
in his
Yeah,
dreams, yeah,
in his
yeah.
dream. Yeah, well, he is in trouble again, and so is that little black liberal prosecutor who dropped all charges against him. The
Mm-hmm.
Department of Justice is reopening it, and they're both in hot water now, but they're still not Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And we still don't have any members of Congress being prosecuted. That's what needs to change. They might take down a few little guys like Jussie Smollett to maintain the appearance of justice, but they are failing us big time by letting members of Congress get away with such nonsense.
The Brotherhood, it says, is showing its true colors. Something to the effect of no peace as long as Israel exists.
Yeah, this is the Muslim Brotherhood's response to the Trump administration's promise to pour $50 billion into Gaza, turning it into a first class place to live. You know, the claim has been made that the reason that there's so much violence from the Palestinians is that they are living in poverty. They're poor people, that they have been kept down and oppressed. And of course, liberals just light up on those words like kids in a candy store. But the Muslim Brotherhood, who is, by the way, the largest terrorist organization in the world and one of the biggest donors to the Democrat Party, has declared that as long as Israel exists, there will be no peace. And that is the general consensus of the Muslim world. Israel must be exterminated. Israel is known as the house of war, and Islam will be at war with Israel until Israel is exterminated. And this is serious for Americans because the Muslim Brotherhood has established itself in the USA firmly. It's the Muslim Brotherhood who launched Muslim student associations in every major college in all 50 states. And the Muslim Student Association is undermining American security and the moral standards of our students more effectively than just about anybody else. Like the only ones that are probably greater danger to American students is the LGBT thugs.
Well, you know, I don't know if Trump has a plan to develop that and is putting $50 billion in it. Anybody that would suppose that Trump doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to real estate development uh, is pounding the wrong drum. If Trump wants to make something happen, if there's anybody that can do it, he would be the one. So it sounds to me like even you say here that Saudi Arabia is on board with who? Trump?
With Trump, one of Trump's greatest strengths has been turning enemies into friends.
Mm-hmm.
Look what he did with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Mm-hmm. And Saudi Arabia is now finally to the point where they are willing to accept the existence of Israel. This is a tremendous setback for Islam in the Middle East. And this goes against their entire jihad mindset. So amazing things are happening. And another organization I need to point out as Muslim Brotherhood organized, that is CARE, mm-hmm. the Council on American Islamic Relations. They are literally the mouthpiece, the propaganda mouthpiece for Islamic terrorism. And these guys have taken control of training American police officers, the FBI. Law enforcement agencies use them for advice on multiple cases. And it's time for CARE to be declared a terrorist organization, just like the Muslim Brotherhood. And apparently the USA has not yet declared the Muslim Brotherhood to be a terrorist group because, well, frankly, they donate heavily to the Democrat Party. But there is a move afoot to actually declare them to be a terrorist organization. That can't happen soon enough.
Speaking of the Democratic Party, you are not the first to notice, but they had their debate earlier. I haven't seen it, but I have seen a lot of social media attention because conspicuous by its absence at that debate.
The American flag. I looked, and there is not a single sign of an American flag, not even on a lapel pin. And I believe that is deliberate. The entire liberal mindset is basically anti-American because America is a Christian nation, but that's a whole other can of worms. But every single one of the Democrat candidates is proposing politics that would be harmful to the USA. Every single one of them is competing with the others to see who can steal the most loot from the American people to hand over to their dregs of society constituents. Vote buying is essentially what it is. Vote buying is a crime in America, and it has been since like the 1800s, when politicians used to stand outside the polling places and hand people $10 bills to vote for them. Well, since then it has been a crime, but the Democrats have mastered the art of vote buying through welfare programs. And I wish they would be investigated for that, because I don't know how they would tie that into criminal court.
They don't even use their own money. They use our money.
Well, that's the key to socialism. Taking from you to give to others. Socialists are great at giving away other people's money. And what they do is they're feeding the greed. We are looking at the greediest bunch of voters in America, in American history. This is the gimme, gimme, gimme generation, and to the shame of the Democrats, they're encouraging this unhealthy criminal greed rather than developing the moral character of our young people. This is why I say the Democrat Party needs to be destroyed. They offer nothing good. In fact, I consider the Democrat Party to be the number one organized crime syndicate in America. They are that bad.
Bill, I think about the 10 Commandments, one of which goes to the effect, you should not covet thy neighbors, and in this case, it says wife or ass, nor or wife's ass. But the principle there is you should not covet that which belongs to others, and that is at the very heart of the philosophy, the worldview. Not only do they want it, it is prima facie evidence that you have done something wrong if you have prospered.
Yeah, and what they're doing is they're feeding the lust for other people's things that leads to all kinds of problems.
Well, it's the spirit of mammon, okay? It's the idea that you want something, and the fact that, it's bad enough that you would be what's the word I'm looking for? A workaholic, for example, who works excessively to make money because they're possessed by the spirit of mammon. They don't even want to work for it.
Yeah, there's working for it as an honest man or woman who just wants to make your way in the world, and then there is the ones who would rather just vote for a politician who will take it by force from those who work for it and lavish it on you. You got student debt. Hey, whine and cry until they say, "Oh, you don't have to pay your student debt. We'll just sock the taxpayers with it." This is Bernie Sanders' big thing. Elizabeth Warren too.
Well,
and Bernie Sanders hit on something else that is serious in these debates. He declared, as I'm sure all of them are in on it, that this government health care for all, will include mandatory abortion for any woman who wants it. You know what that'll do to the Christians in the medical profession? They will be subject to prosecution, discipline, losing their medical licenses. This could literally drive Christians out of the medical profession. Yet another attack on the Christian church from the Democrat Party.
Where does it end? It
Well,
never
where
ends.
does it end? I'll tell you where it ends. Somebody recently said the givers have to set limits because the takers have none. The American people need to say, enough is enough, no more. Need to cut it off. Man, Bill de Blasio, the New York mayor, who thinks he's going to be president, he shouted, "Hasta la victoria siempre" during the debates. You know what that is, Mark?
What does that mean?
Well, it means on until victory, but that is the cry of Che Guevara.
Oh no.
You remember him?
Yes.
Che, he's the bearded revolutionary that you see on the shirts of all the college students. Che was Fidel Castro's executioner. It was Che Guevara who was dragging husbands and sons out of their homes in the middle of the night, putting them up against a wall and shooting them without even giving them a trial. In fact, when challenged on that, Guevara said, "We don't have to provide evidence that they were guilty enough to be executed. We just need to show that they needed to be executed." That is the Che Guevara mindset. That is the predominant mindset on American colleges and universities. It is a shameful thing.
I didn't know. I know Che. I've and he he was Fidel's right hand man, basically his lieutenant. Did all, you're right, did all of his dirty work.
He was a murderer.
Yeah.
And Che Guevara used to enjoy the execution so much, he was famous for sitting there eating a steak dinner while watching the executions. There's
Reminds
nothing
me
good about
of
this.
Uday
And Qusay, Saddam Hussein's sons. Yeah, same kind of mindset.
Yeah. Well, there is some good news. Thank goodness. It appears that the Supreme Court has been asked about some crosses.
And they have come down on the right side for once. There's a big World War I cross up here in Pensacola, not far from you, as put up by the JCs in 1941 to honor the World War I vets, just as America was entering World War II. And a handful of atheists demanded that it come down, went to the courts, but because of the Supreme Court decision recently on the Brandenburg Cross up in Maryland, the Florida court said, it stays. And the atheists declared this cross to be offensive. That was the gist of their lawsuit. And I want to know what it is about a wooden cross that is offensive to atheists. I mean, they don't have to look at it. I'm frankly offended by their aggressiveness at seeking out and trying to destroy things that are very meaningful to Christians. And frankly, the argument that they usually win on is the argument that cross on public property is unconstitutional. That itself is a flat-out lie. Any court that says that is absolutely wrong. So, the big bullies in this is known as the the Freedom from Religion Foundation. These are the people that scour the country hunting for symbols of Christianity or Christian activity that they can stomp on. These hateful atheists have been responsible for multiple lawsuits and intimidating cities all over the country into removing Christian symbols. It's time to take these people on. I want to know who they are. I want to know who their donors are. And I would love to see the Christians of America rise up and get in the faces of the mayors and the city council who cave into these evil people. To tell you what I would like to see, Mark, whenever an atheist files a lawsuit to have, say, a Christian symbol removed, I would like for the courts to order that it go to the people for a vote. Let the citizens decide if they want that cross in their town or if it should be torn down. No judge should have the authority to make that decision on their own.
You know, it's funny that there's a recurring theme here. Uh, a minority of people, a handful of people, assert themselves, and there's several issues. And what concerns me is these people are really concerned about minority rights until they are no longer the minority. Then, when we are the minority, are they going to have that same passion for minority rights if they were not a minority?
Oh, I think the correct answer is hell no.
Hell no. Absolutely not.
But they're not going to be the majority in our lifetime. Christian America is hugely powerful. It just does not flex its muscle. The problem is that the tiny minority, the tiny handful, the squeaky wheels, they get these corrupt judges to bang their gavel and make it law for everybody. That's not freedom. That is tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for the people to make these decisions, not unelected judges. And by the way, some judges are elected, and when they do stupid things, they need to be booted out.
Yeah, there was a time, and I forget when it was, but Newt Gingrich, said, and I think it was Andrew Jackson. I don't remember, but he just kind of got rid of some judges. Said, "You're fired." And I don't know what the procedure is, but we need to fire some judges. It seems like it's sort of like a teacher with tenure. Once you get that, it seems like you're impervious to any accountability. And I wonder sometimes how do we hold judges accountable once they're there?
Congress can remove a judge. It's all up to the United States Congress to remove a federal judge. I proposed to one of the Florida legislators that we pass a Florida law that federal judges appointed by the president serve in the state of Florida as long as the governor gives his stamp of approval. And if the governor removes his stamp of approval from a federal judge in Florida, that the federal government would be obligated to remove that judge. But this legislator was not at all interested in hearing. He says, that'll never fly, and just blew me off. But I think it's a good check and balance to these out of control federal judges.
Back to where we started, we were talking about some men kind of crashed the party. Where, by the way, some of these people that are reading, I say in the broadest sense of the word, drag queens that are reading books to children in our libraries have been found to be sexual predators. So
surprise.
Yeah. Several men, pastors, they've been arrested. And you say that we are to be salt and light. Actually, you don't say that. God says that.
Yeah. The Christian church, Jesus himself said that we, the Christians, are to be salt and light in our communities. Light, of course, dispels the darkness, and America is slipping into spiritual darkness like never before. These evil drag queens, satanic, transsexual people are the most primo example of spiritual darkness I have ever seen. And the Christians need to push back boldly, courageously against this nightmare that is coming across America. And the men of the church, I believe, have a responsibility to stand up and defend the children of America. I encourage the Christians of America to swarm these drag queen story hours and get them on camera, get the police officers on camera who are protecting these child predators, and get the parents on camera who are bringing their children to subject them to this abuse. They are negligent parents. In fact, I consider them to be endangering their children. And let it be known that we are going to use these images to bring child endangerment investigations against parents that take part in this. And the librarians who allow it, same thing. Child endangerment. It's time to protect the children.
Yeah,
I'll,
why do we have to, as taxpayers, provide a venue for them to indoctrinate and brainwash our children? Why? I mean, quite frankly, if they want to live that lifestyle, well, if they want to advocate that, that's one thing, but I don't have to pay for them to have a platform to do it.
Well, they say otherwise, and they're not content to practice their lifestyle behind closed doors. As you can tell, ever since Barack Obama opened this Pandora's box on America, they have been militantly aggressive, and in just a couple of short years, they went from, oh, we just want to be accepted, to better make the cake or else, and now they are actively stalking our children. So
Yeah,
it's time for the church to wake up.
There's a difference between equal rights and special rights.
Well, there's a crime called child endangerment that we need to be taking a look at. I had a conversation earlier today with Rick Light. He's a militia commander out in Texas. He's very respected. He works with judges and sheriff's departments. And I asked him about these men, stalking our children. I asked him if that's something that the militias of America might be interested in stepping up and getting involved in. And he didn't know for sure. This was a new thing for him, but he's going to ponder it and talk to some of his people and some of the sheriffs out there in Texas. And we're going to talk later on in the week and see if there's something that the militias can do to defend the children of America. And I would love to see American militias form a circle around the children, whereas the police officers are forming a circle around the drag queens. That would shame a few police officers.
We are to be salt and light.
Yeah. Well, I have a quote that impressed me earlier today. It's from Greg Laurie. He writes on WorldNet Daily, and this is what Greg Laurie said. He said, "We need to stand for truth whether it's popular or not. This is a non-negotiable. We stand on what the Bible says on every topic. There is no wavering here. This is not a time to apologize. It is a time to be an apologist and give a defense for the faith. This is not a time to back down. It's a time to step up and be counted, to be bold and strong. This is not a time to retreat. It is a time to advance."
And there's a point at which if you just continue to retreat and retreat and retreat, there comes a point where you cannot advance.
Well, yeah, as a football coach, you never win a game by playing defense.
Hard to score points that way, it really is.
Yeah, and I will tell you flat out, the primary reason the United States of America is in such a moral mess has been the shameful silence of the Christian church. Christians need to find their voice, and they need to find their courage to come out from behind closed doors and actually meet these people. And I know where they can do it starting on July 6th, 1 week from today. There is a Demand Freedom rally up in Washington, D.C., and Antifa has announced that they are going to attack. They have announced that they are planning mass acid attacks to blind and cripple the Americans who attend this First Amendment freedom rally. So I would love to see as many Americans as possible attend this rally with the intent to go toe-to-toe with these bad guys if they have to. And be prepared to defend themselves according to the law, and frankly, take all the fun out of it for these Antifa thugs.
Bill, a thought that I keep reminding myself of, obviously we don't want our children being indoctrinated by drag queens. But you know what, Bill? We didn't read to them. We gave them the territory. Maybe we should be reading to our children. We should be reading to our children at home. Why don't we organize groups to read to children wholesome material? You know, several of the weekly guests, two of them that we have here on PJNet Live, are Christian authors. One of them writes children's books. So in a way, shame on us for not reading good material at public libraries and creating a vacuum, because guess what that vacuum got filled with?
Evil.
Yeah. You know,
Well,
we need to get aggressive. We need to go on offense. You know, we can't just say, you know, that the law is going to protect us, that our politicians are going to take care of us. I think we need to become actively involved in a positive way, as well as fighting evil. Why don't we advance good? And I think that's endemic in our culture, that we have retreated to our churches that are safe and air conditioned, like the church you go to. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm a member of Faith Riders. We get out there among the bikers, and we bring the message outside the church doors. But sadly, we're a tiny minority in the Christian church. And you're right. They need to get out more and advance rather than retreat.
Right. And we retreat to our churches, that are literally sanctuaries, literally, where it's safe, and at least for now. For now. But we, yet our enemies have taken their word to the public square. And let me take a moment to commend my brother in Christ for speaking the word of God in the public square. Bill, you don't brag on yourself, but tell us what you do in speaking the truth in the public square.
I do Wild Bill for America videos, and I go to the beach and the park, wherever the public is. And my mission in life is calling this nation back to the God and country values upon which the USA was founded. The values that the liberal left, the Democrat Party, the drag queens are all trying to tear us away from. So that's what I do. And I would love to have the support of your audience. They can see my videos on YouTube, wildbillforamerica.com. And man, any of you that click that PayPal link that I put in the description of my videos would be much appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I did.
You guys are keeping me in the fight. Google's trying to put me out of business.
Oh, Bill, let me tell you, and we do need to wrap up, but I have a new video that I'm about to use as an ad on YouTube. As soon as we get done here, I'll be submitting it. Now, YouTube used to approve my ads in 24 hours. Or, now it takes a week all of a sudden. I don't know why, but it seems to take a week. But this particular video, okay, I've read their rules as best I can. The rules are kind of voluminous. Yeah. But one of the images in this video is this Christian author, Michelle Medlock Adams, who is here every Wednesday night, taking a selfie with a crowd of children in the back. Mark my words. They're going to say, "Oh, you've got minors in your video, and you didn't, you can't do that. You can't, because it's to promote her books. Okay, it's an ad. There's nothing wrong with running an ad to sell your stuff. Mark my words, they're not going to approve it because, well, you're showing minors. Did you have permission? Like, well, suppose that I do, or suppose that I don't. What business is it of yours, YouTube?"
If you go to the beach and take a picture of your wife and in the background there are other family stuff, that is perfectly acceptable. Don't let Google bully you.
Well, I hope you're right, but I will be submitting that. But it takes, the last one I turned in took a week, Bill. It took them a week to approve my ad. I mean, they're so busy. They must be busy, I guess. I don't know. All right, well, until next week. Bill, a quick plug for Intellectual Frog Legs.
Yeah, we have a party coming up August 3rd up in Franklin, Tennessee. Joe Dan Gorman's Intellectual Frog Legs 3rd Annual Barbecue. Go on Intellectual Frog Legs, sign up. Come join us. I will see you there, and we will have an old-fashioned, all-American hillbilly hootenanny. It'll be fun.
Don't be wearing your nice shirt. Your shirt's going to get a new color. It's going to have orange streaks of barbecue.
You have a barbecue colored shirt. Nothing wrong with that.
Not a thing in the world. Bill, you are a champion for Christ. Thank you so much for your ministry. Thank you for taking your time to be here. And next time I'm running late, you need to call me. And better late than never. And Bill, thank you.
Asked for it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, Mark.
Love you, brother. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next week.
God bless.
All right. America, bless God again. If you subscribe to Wild Bill's YouTube channel, he ends every one of them. America, bless God again. He's been doing that for years. If you're not subscribed, you need to do that. We have such a good time. Bill brings you the stuff that you're not going to hear on the mainstream media. He spends time combing all sorts of resources out there and news that you would never get. And I appreciate his take on what's going on out there. The real news that not only the mainstream media ignores, they probably don't want you to know. So until next week, we'll see you right here on PJNet Live.